Katie's friends on the cover. She opens it, revealing magazine covers and cutouts of posing models. In every photo, their faces have been scratched over with black marker. Rachel frowns. She removes a ticket from the inside pocket with two hearts drawn on it. It reads, Next Day Premium Photo Processing. Later, storefront glass reflects a tram passing overhead. Below, Rachel exits with an envelope of photos. She walks down the sidewalk as she sifts through them, a messenger bag over her shoulder. She sees slightly at photos of Katie cuddled with her boyfriend. Another shows her standing by a sign that says, Shelter Mountain Inn. Rachel takes a breath as she continues looking through the photos. One shows Katie's boyfriend by an old TV. More show them playing pressure. Her smile fades into a look of confusion. The photo shows the teens standing outside the cabin, but their faces are contorted and blurred. Rachel looks up from the photos. Elsewhere, a name below a photo of Katie's boyfriend reads, Josh Turandot. An accompanying headline reads, Back Bay teen dies in high-rise fall. At home, Rachel picks up another newspaper from a stack and opens it. An article's headline reads, One car accident kills two, cause not determined.
Yo, Queen.
It shows photos of two teens, Rachel's blue eyes in the article.
Ate Queen. Wait lang.
In an office stuffed with messy cubicles, Rachel talks on the phone at her desk.
Time of death, Wade, that's all I want to know. Your name's Katie Embry. Pull the report and read the time.
A balding man walks up.
No, it's okay.
Ate Queen.
So he's correct?
Rachel glances back at him.
Nice alliteration, huh?
You're fired.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. You could be too good a
I'm
story.
not.
She eats yogurt, cradling the phone.
What is it?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Returning to the phone, she waves the man off. With a passive look, he turns away.
Okay, so what's the time of death?
Rachel listens, holding the receiver. Her mouth opens, and she nods slowly.
Yahoo!
On a list of the dead teenager's names, she writes 10 p.m. in red ink next to Katie's. Then she touches the photo on her desk of Katie standing next to the inn sign. Later, a car drives down a two-lane highway along a steely lake. A thick forest pokes into the sky around it. The car rounds a bend, rainwater trickling down the windows. Rachel leans her head on one hand as she drives, then bites her nail. Now the car passes the inn's wooden sign.
Shout out Ate
Inside the
Vicky.
inn, a clean-cut man turns playing cards over in his hand. He looks up at the door, a smirk growing on his face.
Pick a card. Any card. Go ahead.
Rachel dutifully draws the 9 of diamonds.
Put it back. Don't let me see it.
He glances away as she replaces it in the deck. He shuffles, then holds up Queen of Hearts.
Pick a card.
No.
He turns it.
To me.
He turns.
I was wondering if you'd remember someone from a week ago.
Is there a problem?
It's my niece. She sort of ran out on her parents.
Okay lang
He
po.
lifts another card.
Okay na, okay.
See photos here and Sarah from her friends. I
Si
think they
Ate
stayed
Vicky,
there 9 or so.
si Ate Queen.
They were in cabin 12. They didn't pay. They had enough complaints.
Stress
At the
studies,
TV.
no?
Reception's never good here. That's why we bought tape players for videos.
Movie
He
Mara.
gestures to a shelf.
Quite a selection.
Mostly they're hand-me-downs left by other guests. Anyway, they didn't pay. And kids like that sometimes don't.
She stares at a tape.
Miss?
You know, I'm kind of tired. I'm thinking I might take a nap before I drive back. I'll take cabin 12.
She puts down her credit card. Nodding, the clean-cut man takes it. As he steps into the back room, Rachel crosses to the shelf of videos, lifting the
watching
unmarked
movie.
tape. She slides it in her
Netflix
bag.
time.
Hey,
He holds up
Netflix
7
time.
of clubs.
this is your card, right?
Rachel steps forward, smiling.
That's it.
She nods enthusiastically. Now Rachel lowers the photo of the teenagers with blurred faces, revealing cabin 12 behind it. With a cautious look, she approaches. A red-leafed tree stands alone on a green hill behind her. She reaches the dark, moss-covered cabin and ascends a small set of steps to the porch. A cloud passes behind the tree, uncovering the sun. Inside the cabin, Rachel sits on the couch holding the tape. As the cloud passes, a red light spills into the room through the window. Outside, shadows pull away from the tree's red leaves. Inside, Rachel sticks the tape into a VCR player. She presses play and sits back. She watches the black screen. Appears, then vanishes. Glowing circle appears center screen, darkness surrounding
Ay, the
it.
ring mo na.
Its light flickers on Rachel's face before turning to static.
Just hot.
Next, it shows rushing red water. Now a chair stands alone in a white room, casting a shadow. Comb teeth run through ink-black hair. Inside a wall mirror, a woman brushes hers carefully. She stops and turns to another wall mirror, which shows a girl with dark hair covering her face. A view from below shows a man standing in a second-story window. Fly crawls on a windy waterside landscape. Images flash past of a burning tree and a finger stabbing through a nail. Rachel cringes as video of maggots turns into people writhing in the mud. A chair pulls back from a table and a giant centipede crawls out from under it. More images show a horse's glassy eye, a half-moon fingers twitching in a box. The burning tree returns, followed by a face struggling against a plastic bag. The woman lets down her hair, looking over her shoulder. A tall ladder leans against a never-ending wall, and elsewhere, waves wash over a horse's corpse on a beach. A woman overlooks the windy waterside landscape. She opens her arms as she falls from a grassy cliff. Next, the ladder falls as the half-moon shape disappears completely, leaving a glowing ring. Now a stone well waits in a dead field. The video cuts to static. Rachel's gaze remains on the screen. Her pupils shrink. Outside, the sun begins to set behind the hill. Inside, Rachel opens and closes the door, then leans over and stops the tape. She whips around, facing the room's phone on a nearby table. She gets up and answers it, carefully holding the receiver to her ear. Her eyes widen and her brow knits. She hangs up the phone. She
Mamatay
runs
7 days, pero mabalik.
ahead. The view rises above her as she looks at it and around
Mawala na yung balay.
Later,
Napangit
at home,
lagi.
Aiden opens
Di
the
ba,
refrigerator door. Words appear. Thursday, day 1. He spreads peanut butter and jelly on the white bread and closes the sandwich. Next, he zips it into his lunch bag and dons his backpack.
I'm going to school.
He
I'm
passes her
going to
closed
school.
door at the end of the hall. Inside her room, she sits cross-legged in bed, holding the video in her hands. She looks up from it slowly. On the street, Aiden holds an umbrella as he turns a corner on the sidewalk. A bus pulls away from the curb behind him. He stops in front of a man coming his way in a brown rain jacket with the hood up. Aiden tilts his umbrella to see the man's stubble-covered face. Rain drips from the man's shaggy hair.
Ay, Ate
With a
Roslyn
cold look,
Alves.
Aiden passes him, and the man
Ate,
continues
I miss
on.
ya.
In Rachel's apartment,
What do you think?
Thank you.
Pretty
Si Ate
cool.
Roslyn.
he looks at the blurred faces.
What does this have to do with the tape?
She sits across from the shaggy-haired man.
Take my picture.
She hands him a digital camera. He pops up the flash, holds it to his eye.
Are you gonna look at me at least?
She casts an unenthused
Yeah.
look in his direction, and he snaps a photo.
I don't
He
usually
checks it. Her
live.
face is blurry.
Do live talaga.
No.
I'm afraid.
She hugs her knees as he flips
Di
through
kasi
it,
ako
her
moni,
face
tapos
always blurred
magpakita.
out.
Di pa ko moni Ate
What do
Nu.
you think?
He shakes his head and meets her worried gaze.
He was stressed, di ba?
What? But I thought you said this was
He was
meditation.
stressed
She
after
removes it
school,
from her
after
bag,
studies,
wearing a
after
reluctant
modules.
look. She gets up from the couch.
I'm thinking maybe you shouldn't see it. No, I should know more about it first.
Well, isn't that why I'm here? So you can benefit from my wisdom?
4 kids are dead, Noel.
Not from watching a videotape.
She averts her eyes. He wears a convinced
Di mo
look.
toong lalaki ba?
Come on, show it to me.
Now Noah inserts the tape into a VCR player and presses play. He kneels in front of a TV in Rachel's home office as the ring appears on screen. Behind him, Rachel
I think
turns
it's
away with her
15
arms
minutes.
folded.
I'm gonna end this live.
Noah watches the screen closely, light reflecting off his face. Rachel walks out onto her balcony, one of hundreds along the several-story apartment buildings. A view from below shows her staring off, gray clouds covering the sky behind her. She purses her lips and swallows, her gaze landing on another apartment where a little boy watches cartoons. In a robe, his mother crosses to the balcony, shutting the door behind her. Rachel's gaze moves up to another apartment window where a man passes in front of a TV while talking on the phone.
Who's talking?
Another apartment shows a woman vacuuming, her TV
Vacuuming.
playing a show in the background.
Oh, wow.
Rachel's gaze drops to a window showing a man in a wheelchair,
Watch.
his leg propped up in a cast. He eats takeout in front of his TV. Her gaze returns to the mother and
Randy
son,
Channel.
smoking on the
Thumbs up,
balcony. The
done
mother meets her
hoes.
eyes as she exhales. The wind blows
Thank
strands of
ya.
Rachel's hair.
Thank you.
Noah opens the door.
Roll credits.
He joins her on the patio.
It was a very student film.
She wears an unamused look.
I'm sure it's a lot scary at night.
Rachel stiffens, her mouth open.
Wow.
Keeping his eyes on her face, Noah gestures.
You get that?
Inside, Rachel walks over to the black
Put it in,
handheld
put it in.
telephone. Her hand hovers over the receiver. Noah leans over, studying her terrified expression. Rachel's hand settles on the table next to the phone. She looks at Noah, who bites an apple.
Baboosh.
So, you working a lot?
I'm not tired, no.
I'm not tired.
Okay.
Oh, didn't scare you.
The tip didn't scare you?
Oh, no, really? Sorry.
I'm not really
Four
sure.
people are dead.
People are dead.
Yeah,
Let's just lose.
Four people who watched it.
Well, we watched it. We're hanging.
It takes a week.
Noah nods.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go downtown. I gotta pick up some cameras from that guy, and then I gotta prep this thing, and I may not do next week.
Lulu, sinado ka mamatay siya.
Did you say that I'm gullible?
Oh my god.
Is
I
it
like
real?
this
Definitely
movie.
not.
Really?
Highly strong, maybe.
That movie is so
Who made it?
amazing.
Where'd it come from?
She
Down
gives him
to
a
the
serious
director.
look.
Let me tell you so I can do.
Next.
He opens the door and goes into the hall. Thanks. He faces her.
Yeah.
Walks off. Rachel shuts the
Sumo
door
ko sa
behind
narrator.
her.
Uy. Rumagdi.
She pauses, casting a
Amanan-
fearful
oh.
look at the phone.
May bawal
The view closes in on it, showing the number 1 on the cradle's screen.
Hello.
It flashes.
Siya
Rachel
sunod.
stands over
One.
it, her jaw
Itong katalalaki
tightening.
yan.
She reaches for the play
May
button,
isa
then presses
mamatay.
delete instead. Later, Rachel strides briskly through the newspaper office, sipping from a covered cup. She turns down a quieter hall and enters a door with a sign reading Audiovisual Research Room. Inside, she loads a blank tape into a VCR of a recording machine, pressing a button. Above, she inserts the original into a second VCR. After a moment, she presses play. On a screen in front of her, the tape begins, the ring of light reflecting on Rachel's face. Her mouth hangs open as the chair spins upside down and the ladder leans on the wall.
On the wall.
Looking away, she shifts her
The
jaw,
English
wearing a
version,
contemplative look. At the top of a nearby mixing board, digital broken numbers play in the place of the video's signature time code. She presses stop and turns a knob on the right side of the board, changing the broken numbers at the top. She frowns, looking at a still of the fly in the windy landscape on a larger and
Oh,
smaller
naipad.
screen.
Look at that one.
She focuses back on the larger screen where the fly imperceptibly moves. Her eyes narrow. Rachel lifts her finger to the screen, touching the fly. Rubbing only screen,
Oh,
she drops her
mosquito.
hand.
Fireflies rather,
Elsewhere,
not
she rises past the
mosquito.
second floor in a service elevator. Words appear. Friday, day 2.
More pretty.
Inside an apartment, a combination of letters and symbols change on the screen of a
Oh, di mo
VCR.
mama ng lalaki na
I'm
nagtanaw.
sure this is a code.
Yeah, why?
These numbers are all
Hi
screwed
guys.
Noah ejects the tape from the VCR.
Same problem got copied, I guess.
He wears an incredulous look.
It's impossible. The numbers of the control track, they're put on the tape whenever it's recorded, which means theoretically it should be any images.
He opens the cabinet.
Hey, Noah, can you pretend for 1 minute that I don't want Video Geek magazine?
Okay, when you record a tape, the makeup of the tracks is like a signature for whatever did the recording, like a camcorder, VCR, whatever. So the control track could tell us where it came from. But to not have one, I mean, that's like being born without fingerprints.
Then how did this get recorded?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Good. Let's find out.
He shuts it. Now
But
they
I'm
watch
going to
the
find
tape.
out.
Take a look. You should be able to see the camera here in the reflection.
Bye.
Candle's straight on, but you don't.
Thank you. God bless.
What's that?
Wala,
So
just
she's walking away. Where is she?
No, I mean,